Hi guys, welcome to September. Today is release day for the Spellbinders club kits. I have a few of them that I'm going to be showing you in this video. However, I'm going to be focusing on the small die of the month. So I have the small die of the month here first. I wanted to create with this club kit first. I usually do their card kit, but this one just looked so much fun to play with. So it comes with all of these beautiful leaves and they all have outline dies. It also has a sentiment that says Hello Fall. And this is a stitching set, which I adore. So I'm going to be making up a couple of cards with that. The large die of the month is called Thankful Tractor. You get so many dies in this one. You get 22. And it makes up the cutest tractor. And then in the back, you can put all of these vegetables. There's corn, a pumpkin, a squash, there's flowers. So super cute. I also have the clear stamp and die of the month club. This is called Fall Gnomes, and it's very similar to the March clear stamp and die of the month, which was called Spring Gnomes. So this time we get some adorable fall gnomes. The dies cut out every single image in this set except for the larger sentiments. Gnomes are still so very popular these days. And then I have their embossing folder, and this one is called Scattered Fall. There are a bunch of different leaves and flowers and stems and berries and all sorts of things on this embossing folder. Let me get a piece of paper to put behind it to see if you can see it a little bit clearer. It's kind of hard to see these on camera. It measures about 5.5 by 8.5. I'll be using this on one of my cards in this video as well. So let's get started with card number 1 using the Stitched Fall Leaves Die of the Month Club. I did most of the stitching off camera, and here is the result of one of the leaves. I used some gold floss, it's so pretty, and then just taped it in place at the back. When I have small dies like this, I do like to glue 2 together and then do my stitching just to give it some sturdiness. Here's another leaf. When you die cut this, it does etch lines into it so you know exactly where the floss is meant to go, but of course you can do it any way you'd like. And then here is my third leaf. I haven't stitched this one yet. I'm using some DMC Diamond floss. And this floss is a little more finicky to use than your regular cotton floss or whatever it's made out of, polyester. I'll have to look that up. So I'm starting at the base of each leaf, and I'm going to do a little bit of back stitching just up the leaf vein. And you have to pull the floss through kind of slowly, or it does tend to get knotted up, as you can see here. And then you have to be careful not to bend your leaves while you're holding them and stitching on them. I'm using a double strand of the floss. And so I'm going to do the main vein first, just a straight line up the leaf. And then I'll stitch into the side holes. DMC also has a silver and a bronze floss that are really pretty. I'll link to this stuff in the description box if you're interested in it. But it's really fun to use on your fall time or Christmas cards. Just adds a little bit of shimmer to it. Okay, now I can start going into the holes at the sides. And this just creates some beautiful veining on these die cut pieces. And I love that they give you 7 different types of leaves. And I didn't use the shadow pieces for these, but it's nice to have those as well to put a little background on it if you'd want to. Also, if you're not into stitching, you could use a gold gel pen or a gold marker and just draw the veins on. I've seen that done, and that looks really pretty too. But if you've never tried stitching, I highly recommend giving it a try. It is so much fun. And it adds some pretty texture and an unexpected fun element on your cards. I'll do the other two leaves off camera just for the sake of time. I've done a lot of stitching videos in the past where I show more of the stitching, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how I stitched these leaves. Once my leaves are all done, I'm going to start putting my card together. So the sentiment, again, it comes from the Large Die of the Month Club Kit, and it just says thankful. It's going to be a very subtle, understated sentiment on the front of this card. I cut it out with brushed gold, and the panel behind it is also brushed gold. I'm going to use more of the gold floss and thread either side of the sentiment. There's a little hole on either side. And this is going to be another subtle detail to this card. But I'm going to place it under the leaves and pop it up with some foam strips. I'll do my best to center this. And then once I have that in place, I'll flip over this panel and use more of the yellow tape just to tape down these strands. I put a little bit too much of the tape there, but that's all right. And I can trim off the ends. And then I can do the other side. I'm going to pop up the leaves with foam squares. For the stem, I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue and glue that down flat. This makes up a very fancy looking card, but it was so fast and easy to do. I just love how it turned out. So let's put on the leaf on the right side of the card. Again, gluing the stem down flat. The cardstock I used to cut out these leaves are new additions to the Spellbinders Cardstock Essentials. They're beautiful, dark, rich colors. The green one is called Forest. And then this center one here I cut out with mahogany. And the leaf on the right I cut out with crimson. These were so popular that they sold out really fast, and I don't think they have them in the shop yet. I will link to them below, and then you can put yourself on the Notify Me list once they are restocked. I'm using another piece of the Forest cardstock as well as the crimson cardstock as mats for my main panel. And then I'll just use a little bit of glue behind this. I'll go right over the yellow tape. I didn't want to use the dot liner and smash the leaves on the front of this card. And then I can center this. I'm going to be using some of the new fashion embellishments from the shop. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use, the red or the green, but I settled on the red, which is called Fashion Rouge. And I'm just going to put these in a visual triangle on the front of the card. I'll glue this onto a white card base. This will be a landscape A2 sized card. And here's a close-up look at the first card. I love that shine from the brushed gold cardstock. It's not quite a mirror bright cardstock, but it's just kind of a dull shine. For card number 2, I did my stitching off camera, and I cut out the same leaf with a few different colors of cardstock. The teal is called Waterfall, and this is Terracotta. Again, I just taped all of the loose strings onto the backs of these. And this cardstock I cut out with another new one. It's called Dune, which is a pretty craft cardstock. I cut out the sentiment with more of the brushed gold and the waterfall cardstock, and I'm just going to attach the letters onto these shadows. I really like the font to these. Most of the letters are separate, but it's worth it. It looks so cute on these shadows. But they have a very original and distinct looking font to them. So I'm going to speed this up here, but I'm just using, of course, a little bit of liquid glue behind them, which allows me to wiggle them around so that I can get them perfectly placed on these shadows. The two L's on this fall sentiment are exactly the same shape, so you don't have to worry about which L goes where. I'm using another piece of mahogany cardstock, and I'm going to emboss it using the embossing folder of the month. I'm going to place it more up in the corner. I really liked that large leaf you see at the top right. And then I will take this off camera and run it through my embossing machine. You can see it better in the folder. Once I take it out of the folder, it's kind of hard to see. The camera doesn't catch all of the beautiful details very well. But I'm going to hold it up and see if you can't see some of that embossing. So this is going to be a wreath card. I'll attach it to a top folding white card base, and then I can start adding my leaves to this. I love a little bit of teal on my fall time cards. So that's why I chose the teal leaves, as well as some browns and reds. Before I glue the leaves into place, I'm going to put them on the card just to see where I want them to go. And then I can start attaching them to the card using some more foam squares. I'm not worrying about the stems this time. Most of it's going to be covered up. Once I have all of my leaves in place, I'll attach the sentiment in the center using more foam squares and a little bit of liquid glue. I'm adding the glue where the sentiment is going to be touching the leaves, and then the foam squares where it's going to be touching the inside of the wreath. I'm trying to get it so it's all the same height. I thought that the fashion taupe embellishments looked best on this card. I needed something to lighten it up a little bit, so I'm going to put a bunch of these around the wreath. It just adds some lightness or airiness to the card. And here it is all done. The colors of embroidery floss that I used really matches well the cardstock, and it just gave it a nice, soft, subtle look. I hope you enjoyed this close-up look at the Small Die of the Month Club from Spellbinders. And again, this one is called Stitched Fall Leaves. All the links are listed in the description box. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a fun, crafty day. Take care. Bye.